Isn't it so nice? They cleaned up the homeless camp over there. It's finally cleaned up. Oh, no. They just moved in over here. Alright, the time has finally come. Now that the situation's finally been resolved, to tell you about the story. No, the odyssey of the interested party. And the police are coming for me. This is the culmination of 5 weeks of nonsense. And it all ties to insurance. I'm not going to obviously name my agent. I'm not even going to name the company that I'm getting insurance through because it's just doesn't get us anywhere. But you know, I was a little naive in the past because I always had a really good experience with any insurance person I had. So I never had to really deal with a bad one. I actually kind of felt like insurance people had my best interests at heart. And I actually think some of them did in the past. And I hadn't had any bad experiences till we moved in 2021. We had to get renter's insurance. And the guy we got was absolutely just totally incompetent. And from the time we got approved to moving into the apartment, it was like 3 days. So all this pre-apartment stuff we had to do really quickly. And I had to call this guy at least 4 times to fix mistakes. He kept misspelling my fiance's name, either her first name or her last name or both. And then when I would contact him, be like, that needs to get fixed, that's not right. He'd fix it, and then somehow, like, something else that was fine before would be messed up, and I'd have to call him again. So I thought it couldn't get any worse than that, having to continue to call your insurance guy because he keeps messing up. Well, we renewed it in 2022. That was fine. Here we are, 2023. Our lease renewed at the start of April. So late March, we're getting all of that renewing your lease stuff done. We're signing all of our documents. Back in February, I get an email saying like, oh, your renter's insurance is up for renewal, so I'm able to do that in advance. So I pay our year's, renter's insurance. It's just easier that way. And I noticed that I have a new insurance agent, and that happens, especially when you don't have I only have renter's insurance right now through them. Sometimes just out of nowhere, you just have a new agent. Well, that happened, and it kind of sucks because the guy that I had, as incompetent as he was right up the street from me. This guy is like a 3-hour round trip bus ride, and that's not including the time it takes to talk to him in their office. So I turn in everything. I get an email from my apartment. Oh, cool. Thank you so much for sending the documents. One thing, you need to list the apartment complex as an interested party on your renter's insurance declaration letter. So I'm like, okay, whatever, no big deal. I'll call my insurance guy, tell them they'll fix it, and it should be taken care of in like an hour. So I call it was like a Wednesday, don't get an answer. It says like, thank you for calling such and such agency, we're connecting you. And there's like 5 to 10 seconds of elevator, waiting music, and then it goes straight to voicemail. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I leave a voicemail expressing my situation. Hey, I just, need this small change done. I just need my apartment added as an interested party. And that's it. Don't get a response back. So I'm like, okay. So, I call the following day, and I'm not in too horrible of a rush because my prior insurance is good through April 15th. So even though our lease renews on the 1st, like a person in the office at my apartment specifically said, like, you're fine through the 15th. And obviously I had paid for this next year of renter's insurance, and I have the name of my apartment, all that on it. So technically I'm, for the most part, covered through to next April 15th, 2024. So I'm not too worried about it, and even the office is expressed like, it's fine. So I'm not like, spam calling the guy, but I give it like a day, and then I call again, same thing. We'll connect you with someone, and then a few seconds of music, voicemail. So I try calling the next day, same thing. So I leave another voicemail. Hey, just getting back in touch with you, seeing if you got my message. And So, and nothing. So I'm starting to get a little annoyed at this point. So I start spam calling a little bit. I called like 4 times in one day. Same thing. There is nobody answering this phone. We're pushing a week now. And that was the time that I went into because I didn't want the office to think I was just disregarding their email. So that was the time I go into the office at my apartment and say, hey, I've been trying to contact this guy for a week now, and I can't get through to him to make this change. And I was talking to literally the woman that runs the apartment complex, the head person. So she calls them, and I'm like, okay, well, worst case scenario is they're actually going to finally answer, and she might think I'm lying, but at least he's going to answer and the thing will get taken care of. Nope, she gets the same treatment I do. She gets we'll connect you, a few seconds of music, voicemail. I'm going to walk behind where I work, but if a security person sees me, they'll probably come back here and tell me I'm not allowed here, which is funny because I actually work here. I'm one of the few people that is allowed back here, and people go back here all the time, and security never catches them. But anyway, so I made sure to go to the office just to make sure, like, hey, I'm aware of what needs to be done, but the ball's not in my court right now. This guy needs to be professional and answer his damn phone or respond to the like 3 voicemails I've left. And the woman in the office left a voicemail calling on behalf of Steve. He's been he's been trying to get in touch with you and can't get in touch with you. If you can get in touch with him or me, just contact somebody. That'd be great. To this day, as far as I know, he never called them back. He sure never contacted me. She even sent an email as well that she tied me to them. That was never responded to. And so I continue to try to get in touch with this guy, and it just becomes abundantly clear that nothing's going to happen. This guy's not answering his phone. We're getting, like, I started doing this late March, and it's like mid-April at this point. So finally, after, more time goes by, I go back to the office, and I just to check, like, I can't get in touch with this guy. Have you, on a wild whim, has he contacted you? And they're like, no, we don't have any, no indication that he's contacted us. So I'm like, great, because, I literally, like, we're at, like, 3 weeks now. It's getting to be late April. I'm trying to get this guy, and it's like, we're not getting anywhere. And I should have thought of this, but again, I've had a history of, like, no issues with my insurance people. So, in the past, I've always just been able to call them. So, for some reason, my brain wasn't thinking this way. And so so I should have thought of this. The people at the apartment complex were like, well, how about you try calling customer service? Like, they're like, we know that they can, they can make changes to your policy and things like that. So, like, I'm thinking, like, oh, okay, that's good, because that's all I need. I need 2 words added in addition to my apartment complex. This was a 30-second fix. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try that. And of course, I do this right before I go to work on Friday. So already, like, I don't have time to call on my work day. And I couldn't get through on the weekend, which makes sense. So I start calling, and it's a long wait time, which I should have expected, but it's like I can't get through because I've been working so much. So it's like, I'll have 30 minutes here, an hour there. And I just can't get through to anybody. I'm waiting on hold, listening to that juicy elevator music, just not getting anywhere. And, like, I know I've talked to the people at the office multiple times. I know it's not a big deal. They weren't like, well, you better get this figured out or you're going to get evicted. Because obviously it's a couple words on a piece of documentation, and we've already filled out all this other stuff, and there's never been one hint that we're, like, in trouble. And it's obvious, again, that this is not my screw up. So then I'm just like, this isn't going anywhere. And then I see, like, oh, okay, so I can email them. I can email customer service. I just looked up the number, and then I finally went on their actual website. I was like, oh, I can actually email them. So I emailed them saying, hey, I've been able to get in touch with my insurance guy for like a month. Like, and I was recommended to go, like, contact customer service. So here I am. I just walked past the security guy. He just nodded and went, mm-hmm. So maybe he recognizes me because I was about to just be like, hey, I work here, so just don't even inquire. But we're nearly to the end of the Odyssey. So I email them, someone emails me back, and again, it's like a Friday. So they actually respond. And one of the things that's so annoying is when they respond to me, they're like, oh, and also here's the information to contact. They give me the contact information for my insurance guy, who literally I haven't been able to contact. Like, why are you giving me his information when the whole reason I'm contacting you, and I put this in the email, is because I haven't been able to get to this guy for like a month now. So absolutely, totally incompetent. He does have an office address, but again, it's like really far away. So it's like, it's absurd that I should be, and I've just, I've been working so much, and I've pretty much constantly been working when office hours would be open. And it's ridiculous that I should have to burn a huge chunk of my day out to go to this guy's office because he can't answer his damn phone over a month-long period. So I'm certainly not feeling at all responsible or guilty for not covering all my bases and doing everything possible when it's the whole office. They can't answer their customers. Can't even answer my apartment complex when they call them back. So anyway, so I have to wait till like the following Monday because they, I responded back to them on Friday, but they didn't respond back to me till Monday. So obviously they probably don't have like people, their email customer service probably doesn't happen over the weekend. And so finally someone gets back in touch with me. And again, they give me the information to contact my insurance guy, which is like, that is not the damn issue here. But then they're like, oh yeah, but we can make changes to your policy for you, like here. And I'm like, okay, well, praise Jesus. So I tell them, because they ask what needs to be done. And I tell them clearly, I just need my apartment to be listed as an interested party. So that gets taken, I send that, and then they responded back. They just needed me to send them the address for the apartment, because the actual apartment, like the office's address, is a little bit different than the apartment's. So I send them that, and finally I wake up this morning and check my email. This whole odyssey started like March 27th, March 28th, and it is now May 2nd. And I finally got an email from someone like, oh, okay, we've altered your declaration letter to list your place as a, interested party. And I looked at the documentation, and they have them, listed as that party with the name of the apartment and their address. So I zoomed that, I downloaded a copy of that, sent it over. It's like, sorry, this took over a month to take care of, but again, I'm not the bad guy here. So yeah, it took over a month. And again, the first, from like March 27th to like April 10th, 12th, I wasn't hustling real hard because I knew I had at least till the 15th before this insurance even kicked in. And I'd already spoken to people at the office, and it was abundantly clear that like they weren't pissed about this. They weren't holding me accountable for their incompetence. But still, it took like 5 weeks to get a couple words added to my insurance declaration letter. Anyway, so that matter has finally been taken care of, and I can go on with my life, I guess. But just, anyway, I gotta go to work. Hope you all have a nice day.